Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the EKN Radio Network. My name is Rob Howden, and here we are for another edition of Operation Grassroots, presented, of course, by Briggs Stratton. This is the 9th edition of Operation Grassroots, the podcast where we take a really good look at four-cycle racing around the country, club racing, regional racing, but we focus on the Briggs 206 and other categories like that really have revitalized karting from coast to coast, really down there at the foundation of the sport, where people are just excited to get up and go racing on a Saturday morning. Today, again, a great show coming up for you here, but of course we want to start things off by thanking our sponsor of this broadcast, this podcast, Briggs Stratton. Briggs Stratton is powering Operation Grassroots around the world. No other engine manufacturer is getting new and returning drivers to the track like the Briggs 206. The out-of-the-box performance provides the most fun, excitement, and reliability of any karting engine on the global market. Learn more about the 206 engine and the history behind Briggs & Stratton's century-long commitment to motorsports at www.briggsracing.com. Briggs & Stratton Racing, what powers you? Once again, folks, episode number 9 of the Operation Grassroots, May the 15th, 2019, and the man I'm about to talk to, prepping for a race here just in a couple of weeks, the co-founder and director of the Buckeye Karting Challenge, Scott Smith. Scott, thank you for joining me here on the EKN Radio Network.
Thanks for having us, Rob. We're glad to be here.
Well, I'll tell you, we focus on series and we always put like feelers out, where's there a cool regional series, a club series, something what's happening? And I'll send emails out. We'll put it on Facebook or Twitter. You got a series that's hopping? Let us know. Well, I'm sure you're not surprised that we had a bunch of people emailing us and sending us messages about the Buckeye Karting Challenge. You guys came out of the box strong. Your first race of the year was April 26th, 27th, 28th at G&J Kartway. All it takes is when somebody says, hey, we had almost 60 or something Briggs senior and master drivers. You guys had 41 drivers in senior 206 Briggs for the first round of your regional series. What a great start to the season. This is big.
It was huge. We had 41 seniors, 93 separate 206 drivers altogether.
Wow, that's amazing.
We were hoping, going to Camden for the first year, we knew it was going to be big. We were hoping for 100 to 120 total entries, and we ended up with 166.
That's big entry. Like that's one of those races where everybody stops and says, wow, okay, I can't miss the next one. Now, here's the thing. Obviously, first time we've had you on the EKN Radio Network on Operation Grassroots. We haven't really had a chance to talk about the Buckeye Karting Challenge. You and I have been messaging back and forth, I think, on Facebook for a couple of months. For everybody that's listening here on EKN Radio, how about you just give us the origin story? How long has the series been around? Let's talk about we'll go into the schedule for this year. Let's talk about the mandate and kind of the culture, and just give us a full update on the Buckeye Karting Challenge.
So Camden was actually only the 4th race we've done as a series.
Right.
It kicked off our second season, and this all kind of started. Well, let me give you a little background. I've been racing karts for 35 or more years.
Nice.
Promoting racing for 28 years with street races. We own a local track in Fremont, Ohio, Fremont Raceway Park, and just loved motorsports since I can remember. My father was involved, and I have kids that are involved in racing now. And in the fall of 17, my youngest son, Carson, got tired of hearing about all the glory days of karting with all the big numbers and said, why don't we do something like that again?
Nice.
So him and I started kicking around the idea for a new series for Ohio. And at the same time, a gentleman named Scott Benton, who has a long background in karting as well in the Ohio area, was helping out at some local tracks. He had the same idea, and it kind of came together as a bit of a perfect storm. We've worked really well together, the three of us, directing the series, and we've got a lot of good people behind us. So that was fall of 2017. 2018, we went to the OVK swap meet, just three guys with some some flyers and said, "Hey, we're going to do this series." We had some tracks somewhat committed, and had a lot of people excited. Our first year, we did 3 races in 2018. We did Thompson Kart Raceway in Thompson, Ohio, um, Atkins Raceway in Port Washington, and my home track, Fremont Raceway Park. We started out with 78 entries at Thompson and averaged 70 for the first year, and it went really well, and it's taken off from there.
It's a full Ohio series, right? All the events are in Ohio.
At this time, yes, all the events are in Ohio. We've had some interest already from some outside tracks, and we've got a lot of decisions to make in the future.
Of course. Yeah. So you know what? Let's talk a little bit first about the schedule. Give me a rundown of the schedule you guys have lined up for 2019, because that's a good opportunity for those who may be listening here on the EKN Radio Network to jot down a date, right? An open date or a track they want to go hit. So you've got your first round. It's 5 races this year. First round was already in the books, as we've talked about. Some fantastic numbers, over 160 drivers, 41 alone in 206 Senior, which I always say numbers breed numbers. When you get those kind of numbers, people want to come and play. So you were at G&J Kartway, Camden, for the opening round. Give me a lineup of the next 4 races that you have set to go here in 2019.
So May 26th, Memorial Day weekend, we go to Thompson Kart Raceway in Thompson, Ohio. That race is sponsored by Thompson Car Care, and that's the track that started it all. So we're excited to go back there. And then June 30th, McIntosh Oil brings us to Wilmington Raceway Park, which is going to be an interesting one for a lot of the Ohio racers. Wilmington is one of the newest tracks in Ohio. It's been expanded several times, and it's almost a mile in length, but it's a sprint style track, and they have a kart shop on the premises. And they cater mostly to 206 and rental karts and guys just coming out to play. So this is going to be the first big event there. So that's we're looking forward to that. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I like that.
August 18th, Chapman Specialties brings us to Circleville Raceway Park, just south of Columbus, Ohio. Circleville's got a pretty good history in karting.
It does. Yes,
they've had some big races there in the past. Unfortunately, the past few years, they have not had kart racing there on a regular basis. They've done some vintage kart events and stuff like that. But they started their own summer series this year, and we're bringing the BKC there. We're expecting a lot of big things for that race. And then we will wrap the season up on September 8th at Fremont Raceway Park. That race is sponsored by Thrash Motorsports. That kind of brings us back home to where the idea originated and to my home track.
You know, Scott, I think one of the cool things about this is the fact that by putting the time and effort into this, getting this program together and getting some momentum and getting people excited about 206 racing and also the 2-cycle classes that you run as well, because I know that you do the Swift class, you do some Yamaha categories as well, and KA 100. It's like you'll probably say this, but it's like it's kind of injected some excitement, like kind of a shot in the arm, just to karting in the state of Ohio as it is. People are getting excited about it. You talked about Circleville doing a summer series. It's very likely just going to, a rising tide lifts all boats, right? So the more guys you have racing, getting excited, it's going to filter down to club level racing as well, I would think.
And that's part of our hope. One of the things we wanted to do was bridge the gap between the club racers and the national level racers, both on expense, experience, the miles you have to travel and stuff like that. We had, both last year and for our first race this year, we had quite a mix of racers, a lot of club level people and some really top-notch national level people as well. Like I said, Ohio's been a hotbed of racing for a long time, and getting all the tracks together and 206 racing, to be honest, has really brought racing back to the local road courses
Nice.
as well. It's kind of been a perfect storm for us, and our goal is to help the local tracks and clubs.
You know what? We went through the schedule so people know when to put the races on the calendar if they have any open time. Now let's make sure that their categories are there. Let's talk a little bit first about your Adrenaline Fix sponsored 4-cycle classes. What do you guys run for 4-cycle?
So Adrenaline Fix Racing came in this year. They're a Briggs authorized dealer. Do mostly 206 and Yamaha stuff. They do arrive and drive and parts and stuff. And they sponsored our 4-cycle categories this year. And basically, we've got the 206 starting with the sportsman class, junior class, and then the senior and the masters. The one thing that we actually did this year, which a lot of people found was odd, is our masters are not allowed to run in the regular senior class. So you have to pick one class or the other. And we did that on purpose to try to keep the numbers down just a little bit in our senior class. We run a couple of smaller tracks, and number of carts actually is a concern of ours. Even at a track like Camden, we broke it down into 2 heat races with a semifinal and then a final.
Now let's move to the two-cycle classes. I know you run some 2-stroke as well. You got, I think you have what one? I'm trying to say you have probably around like 12 classes, 11 or 12 classes in total.
We've got 11 in total,
okay.
And to be honest, that's something we're going to have to take a close look at in the future. As karting is in general, I feel it's too many classes, but we're trying to give a place for everybody to race basically from the tracks that we support. So we've got
that's the key, Scott. That's the key to regional racing, though. That's, you know what, you're one of the first people we've heard about that. You know, you're saying we're trying to run the classes as a regional series that are run at your clubs, and that's the way it's supposed to be done. It's not, you don't run a class that's not run at clubs because you're not going to get supported by anybody. So good for you. I like that. Run the classes that are run at your area clubs. That's perfect. I know you want to cut some classes down, but you're doing the right thing in terms of offering, at least offering them all the classes. You can cut down classes if they're not well supported, but at least you're offering them.
And that's what we're looking at in the future. And we had good support in all of our classes. So the 2-cycle classes are sponsored by Tomar Engineering, which does Tomar clutches.
Yep.
And under that category, we've got the 50cc kid carts, which this year is Comer only, but we've already got interest in expanding that to 206s next year. So, okay. You probably are aware there's several other engines out there, the Predator, the Honda, and several others. So we've got to take a look at that. But right now, the 50cc Comers are doing well there. We've got the Swift. And then we've got a Yamaha Sportsman and a Yamaha Junior. Both of them classes last year and this year have done really well. And then when we go to the senior classes, we've got the standard Super Can or Senior Can. We've got the Spec Pipe, and we've got the KA 100. Nice. I actually expected, even after one race, that we might see one of them classes a little low, but we had decent entries in all 3 of our senior classes as well. So things are looking bright.
Yeah, double digits in all 3 classes.
Yes,
right?
There's still a lot of Yamahas in this area. Newcastle runs them, Whiteland runs them, USAC runs them, and we're a big street race area, and all the street races run Yamahas, and about every racer I know has one sitting in their garage if it's not on a cart. So,
well, I know I just bought one for a vintage cart. So yeah, there's lots of places for KT 100 still to run. So, folks, stick with us. This is awesome. We're getting to know the good folks from the Buckeye Karting Challenge, the BKC. Scott Smith, the co-founder and director, joining us here on episode number 9 of Operation Grassroots. Stick with us. Quick little break, and we're going to come back and talk a little bit about the people that support this program.
In late June, karting returns to one of America's most legendary homes of racing. The World Karting Association, the foundation of motorsports, is thrilled to bring karting back to the Charlotte Motor Speedway in Concord, North Carolina. On June 21st through 23rd, the WKA Charlotte Motor Speedway Karting Challenge will host 3 events in one weekend. That's right, 3 major disciplines all in the spotlight at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. The third stop for the WKA Bridgestone Manufacturers Cup Series is taking competitors to the infield portions of the new Roval circuit, racing around a fast layout, while the WKA Vega Tires National Road Racing Series utilizes the rest of the Roval course for event number 4 of their 2019 season. The Speedway Dirt program invades the dirt track at Charlotte on a revised oval for a 2-day show, and it will be the first time ever that karts have run at this facility. It's new, and it's going to be awesome. You don't want to miss it. Registration is now open, and all the information you may need is available at worldkarting.com.
Are you ready to get the 2018 season started? If you're like us, we're ready to get out of the snow and back to the track. Franklin Motorsports is a leader in the karting industry. With over 50 years of combined karting experience, we can provide you with everything you need to go racing. With a large online product selection, select track support events, and a wide variety of shop services, Franklin Motorsports is your complete karting source. We specialize in IAME engines, tilt seats, and of course, our championship-winning Merlin chassis. If you're ready to take your racing to the next level, come join us at Team FMS. We've been supplying racers with start-to-finish support at race events for many years. From providing a helping hand at a weekday test outing or a club event, to full arrive and drive packages at the highest level of karting competition. For 2018, we'll be attending the SCUSA Winter Series and Pro Tour, the United States Pro Kart Series, and the Route 66 Karting Series. For all things karting, visit franklinkart.com. Does the extreme challenge of a round-the-clock event intrigue you? If it does, then put the 24 Hours of America on your calendar. This year's race heads north to Newcastle Motorsports Park on the June 22nd, 23rd weekend for its 10th running. To the premier karting track in North America, one that hosts multiple national karting events each year. This year, we're debuting our Briggs Stratton LO206 only category, and entries are expected from veterans of the IMSA series all the way to relative newcomers to kart racing. The 24 Hours of America at Newcastle is going to be an incredible event. You supply your kart, and your entry package includes the use of a Briggs 206 engine, safety gear, a home-based tent for your team, your transponder rental, oil, fuel, a set of tires, your pit passes, and 2 hours of practice and 30 minutes of qualifying on Friday ahead of the 24-hour race. We also have Arrive and Drive Briggs 206 packages available. So get your team together and face the challenge that is the 24 Hours of America on June 22nd and 23rd at Newcastle Motorsports Park. To learn more, head to ProCupKarting.com. Welcome back to the EKN Radio Network, episode number 9 of Operation Grassroots, presented by Briggs Stratton. This is Rob Howden, joined today by Scott Smith, the co-founder and director of the Buckeye Karting Challenge, the second-year series in the state of Ohio, which is coming out of the box strong here for their second edition. Big numbers across the board, double digits in two-cycle. Huge numbers as well in the Briggs categories, 41 at the opening round in 206 senior. Scott, you know what? To put a program like this on, and I think everybody knows to a certain extent how much time it actually takes, the effort that gets put in, but you really can't do it unless you have the sponsors. You got to have people in the industry or in and or out of the industry to help fund it, help make it happen, because it does take time, it does take money. I'm going to give you the opportunity here. Talk about some of the companies that have stepped up to get behind this new program and help it push forward into the future.
So one of the first people to get behind us was Boss Pro Karting out of Cleveland, Ohio. And Boss Pro Karting is an indoor rental track. They've got the electric carts like so many places do, but it's run by Lee Boss, who actually used to race at my track when I ran it when he was a junior, moved into sprint cars, did some sports car racing and stuff like that. And they're racers. They like to support karting, and they were excited to get behind something to boost karting in Ohio. So our first year before we put on a race, they said, what can we do to help? And they were there right from the beginning, and they're still with us this year. They come to our events. They've produced some videos that they put on their Facebook page and website for us. We did a winter challenge race at their venue this year with their carts that they went out of their way to work with us on. They've been a great partner.
I like that. That's awesome.
And then this year, Klotz Synthetic Lubricants jumped on board, and they've got a long history in karting and in Ohio going back. They used to support the Kingdom of Outlaws along with Weisco. Back in the day was a traveling series in Ohio, and they jumped on board this year in a pretty big way, and they're helping us out. We couldn't appreciate them more. A couple of other people that have been instrumental in helping us out is Buddy Long from Maxxis Tires. We are not a spec tire series, which is a little unusual at this level.
Oh, really? Okay.
And actually, from the racers, we're talking to the racers daily on Facebook, by email, by phone, at the track, and everything. It seems one of the things that has helped us be successful is that we do not have a spec tire. We have so many separate areas coming together to race with us. And we've had a lot of people say, hey, if I would have had to buy tires just for this series, I probably wouldn't have done it. But even without the spec tire, Maxxis supports us with the win-win program. Basically, if you...
Yeah, give me some insight on that.
Okay.
The Maxxis win-win program.
They came to us, and we were shooting around some ideas last year, and we came up with the win-win program. If you win a Buckeye Karting Challenge feature on a set of Maxxis tires, you get a free set of tires. And we actually had a double winner at Camden in our sportsman classes. We've got a Nash Gerke swept all three of our sportsman age classes, the Swift, the 206, and the Yamaha, and took home a couple of sets of Maxxis tires. Last year we had, I think, 5 different guys take home tires. So, we really appreciate Maxxis and their support and everything Buddy Long's done to help us get going.
From you guys getting out of the gate like you did with the good numbers that you had, I know that you guys are leveraging Facebook. That's one of the ways I was able to first connect with you. Obviously, somebody posted something and they sent me the link. I was able to check you guys out on Facebook. Social media, of course, so important for clubs and regional series to be able to get the word out and kind of expand. Since since this first race, and we want to work with you guys as well to give you more exposure. Hence, getting started here on the Operation Grassroots podcast. Have you got more interest from the industry at all since that first race and having so much success?
Oh goodness, yes. Even before the first race, our Facebook reach is unbelievable by regular industry marketing standards. When we announced the race at OVKA last fall, at Camden, it went viral almost. And since then, our Facebook numbers have been phenomenal.
Yeah, no, it doesn't surprise me.
We've had Keith at Margay's gotten a hold of us thanks to that, and we're working on some stuff with them. They're doing some giveaways at our races, and we've got a brand new Ignite cart with a Streeter cart stand, case of oil that's going to be given away at the end of the year.
Wow. Great company, man. Margay is such a great company. That's fantastic to hear. That's good.
They've been great to work with. Dave Klaus at Briggs has gotten a hold of us, and we're working on a few things with them in the future. And all of our class sponsors from last year returned, and we've got people approaching us, literally asking us what they can do from the industry to support the race. And we're almost running out of things to offer. We've got John Grimm of CPR Racing, a pretty big shop in Ohio, came forth. They're going to sponsor our banquet this year. Speaking of which, we have Lake Speed coming to be a guest speaker at our banquet this year in the fall, so that's going to be pretty cool.
That is very cool. Yeah, I got a chance to meet Lake at the SCUSA Super Nationals this past year. A legend, of course, in the sport of karting, and then did so much as well in the NASCAR program too. But just look at your list, and I'll throw some names out here for you, Scott, because your sponsors: Chardon Welding, Burning River Racing, Rocket Tech Motorsports, Team Automotive Group sponsors in your four-cycle classes, Elite Insurance Team, Chuck's Custom Truck and Trailer, Cook Racing Engines, PM Karting, Fast Action Carpet Cleaning, North Baltimore Custom Cuts, and Cook Racing Engines, again, in K100 Senior. All your categories are all sponsored as well. The momentum you guys are developing is big. I'm really happy to see that you've got people backing what you guys are doing.
Every race is sponsored. QG3 Racing, Austin Queen, his family's got a big history in racing in Ohio and across the region. They came forth and sponsored a Hard Charger Award recently. We're not quite ready to announce the winner of that yet from Camden, but basically at each race, the racer who passes the most karts in a feature is going to get a special award. And we had one of the 206 senior guys gained 13 positions. But we had two other ones gain 10, so that was some exciting racing going on there.
That's solid stuff. Folks, talking here today to Scott Smith, the co-founder and director of the Buckeye Karting Challenge, a tremendous series that's just really starting to take off here in the state of Ohio. One that will most definitely, as a regional program, be able to connect with all the clubs in and around Ohio. And as Scott has told us, a lot of momentum happening. They had a fantastic opening race back in late April with over 160 drivers. The momentum kind of rippled through, number one, the karting community, the driving community, also through the industry. Companies like Briggs Stratton and Margay reaching out once they found out what's going on to kind of help fuel more growth. Scott, stick with me. We got more to come, folks. On the other side of this break, Scott and I are going to talk a little bit about that opening round. I want to hear about the racing. I want to hear maybe some of the big names they've got going, including, I'm looking at the results, including the driver I think finished national number one in the Briggs Weekly Racing Series. Eric Fagan was there as well. So, folks, stay with us. Episode number 9 of the Operation Grassroots here on the EKN Radio Network. Again, Operation Grassroots brought to you by Briggs Stratton. Stick with us. More to come. Attention all Midwest Briggs 206 racers. The new season is almost upon us, and it's time to go racing with Cup Karts North America. For 2019, we have rejoined both divisions, and the battle for the Champions Cup will be bigger and better than ever. Our limited Briggs 206 class structure means big fields and close racing from front to back. We've developed an exciting 5-race schedule that will take us to Concept Haulers Motor Speedway in Norway, Illinois, Michiana Raceway Park in New Liberty, Indiana, Wolf Paving Raceway in Dousman, Wisconsin, 61 Kartway in Delmar, Iowa, and G&J Kartway in the legendary Camden, Ohio. And it all starts on May 4th and 5th with the Spring Nationals in Norway. Come join the fastest growing 4-cycle series in the United States. And remember, in early October, we're hosting the largest 206 race in the country, the Cup Karts North America Grand Nationals, where the best racers from all across North America come together to see who has what it takes to be named Grand Champion. Put it on your schedule. You're not going to want to miss this one. For more information, head to cupkarts.com. With over 35 years of manufacturing experience, Precision Karting Technologies is the leader in American-made components. We produce high-quality products, led by our full line of chromoly and mild steel axles. Metric or imperial, standard or custom, we have what you need. Collars, keys, bearings, we're the source for axle components in the USA. We're not just axles either. At PKT, we can manufacture motor mounts, hubs, brake rotors, and even GoPro mounts. We're also the choice for axle and chassis straightening. We've designed a dedicated table for the sole purpose of straightening and laser aligning your chassis. If needed, we have the capability to cut, replace, and weld portions of your chassis as well. Big crash bent your frame? Send it to us. Broke a spindle yoke off in a wreck? We can replace it. You don't need to toss that expensive frame in the trash bin. We can fix it. We can repair and straighten chassis, and we CNC machine the finest karting products in the country. With over 70 dealers throughout the US and Canada, it's easy to choose PKT. Family owned and operated, proudly made in the USA. PKT. What's in your cart? It doesn't matter what series, the VME cart is running up front. From coast to coast in North America and throughout Europe, VME cart is on fire. VME Kart USA is the importer for Vince and Lorenzo Mandarino's creations, racing and distributing the entire VME chassis line from cadet to shifters. VME Kart USA's focus for the 2019 season is regional racing through dealer JH Motorsports on the West Coast and Elite Karting Group in the Midwest. We're also set up to be at all the major events at our home circuit of Newcastle Motorsports Park, along with supporting drivers in Las Vegas this November for both Rock and SCUSA events. VME Kart has secured big wins at big races, and there's much more where that came from. To learn about our chassis and program, and to see what we're doing in US karting every weekend, follow us on Facebook at VME Kart USA. Welcome back to Operation Grassroots, episode number 9 here on the EKN Radio Network. This podcast brought to you by Briggs Stratton. My name is Rob Howden. It is May the 15th, 2019, midway through the month of May. The Buckeye Karting Challenge getting ready to roll once again. Their next race, May 24th, 25th, 26th at Thompson Kart Raceway. Thompson Car Care, the sponsor. Round number 2 of this year's Buckeye Karting Challenge. And joining me here on the podcast today, the co-founder and director of the program, Mr. Scott Smith. All right, Scott, once you and I connected actually in the off season because somebody hooked with me and said, hey, Rob, there's a new series going on in Ohio. Good people running it. They had some good numbers last year. It's a really cool regional series. I'm like, yeah, you remember, I think you and I reached out. It might have been in February or something like that. We were contacting each other. I was traveling to races. And then you guys have your first race. I'm getting busy. We had the first race. I see it on Facebook and boom, like the amount of numbers, David Cole's messaging me, the managing editor of EKN. He goes, we got to get a hold of this guy because they just had 41 guys in senior. How early did you know that it was going to be this big of a race? Did the entries numbers come in, the pre-entries come in early? Or was this one of those things that kind of steamrolled, 2 weeks out of the race?
It pretty much steamrolled, and we actually had some concerns. There was a number of other big races going on that weekend in the same region in Indiana, and we thought we'd have over 100, but sure didn't expect what we'd get. And we don't do pre-entries, or I should say we didn't do pre-entries. We're going to start doing pre-entries to make things a little smoother.
Hold on. Hold on. You mean you rolled in with just enter at the racetrack?
So at the beginning of the season, we offered a package, $200 entry fee to do all 5 of our races this year.
Wow.
And we had about 40 some people take advantage of that. Other than that, we had no pre-entries, but we had a gut feeling that it was going to be big.
That's old school. It's like a club, right? You don't pre-enter to your club. You just show up and you pay the money at the window and you sign up and you race. I love it. This is grassroots, man. I'm so excited about this.
That's,
so, all right. So,
well, that's one of the adjustments. That's one of the adjustments that we need to make. A lot of our volunteers, staff, organizers come from a club background, very good at what we do at the club level, and we've done well at this level, but it's a whole nother step, and we're already making some adjustments just to smooth things out a little bit, get the show running a little bit quicker, but we're going in the right direction. One thing, and I should have maybe started out with this, I'd like to read real quick our mission statement.
Yeah, please. That's, maybe I should have asked you that, but yeah, you know what? No better time than the present. Let's give us that.
So our mission, or the mission of the Buckeye Karting Challenge, is to promote the sport of karting in Ohio by providing safe, fair, competitive, and affordable racing while providing value to our partners, sponsors, tracks, and other supporters. We're really trying to stick to that, provide value and a good time. We had Randy Kugler at our first race this year announcing, which was really cool.
Never heard of him.
Yeah, he's kind of a guy that's in the background a lot, isn't he?
He's kind of a big deal. That's good. Randy was there. That's awesome. I like
so
to hear that.
He spoke at our drivers meeting, and he said something that I want all of our racers, and all racers should take to heart at this level, is if you're not having fun, it's time for a reset.
Yep.
And that's what we're trying to do, is have fun, provide a professional platform, but a fun a fun venue with a lot of camaraderie and stuff like that.
Scott, a term I use a lot, of course, in business, and everybody does. Culture is top down, right? If you and your staff are having a good time, and you guys come across that way, that's what does it, right? When you come into a racetrack and the people registering you are smiling and laughing and having their morning coffee, and they're there for a good time, culture's top down, and people learn that. And I appreciate that's a great line from Randy for sure, and it's definitely a fantastic mandate that you guys have, that one that could be mirrored and copied by so many programs around the country. Now, all right, so you got this focus on fun. You got a fantastic mission statement for the series. Let's talk about the racing at that first event up in Camden. 41 drivers in senior, number one. We'll get to that in a second, but talk about some of the other categories. I'm 50 years old. I'm jacked that you had 16 guys in 206 Masters as well. That's great.
So Masters, the guy that won Masters is kind of a cool story. Kevin, I'm going to slaughter this name, but Picklesheimer. So he raced from like 95 to 2001 with OVKA, and then took off quite a few years, I guess 16 years. With his wife's approval, he came back in 2017, got a 206. He's having a blast on the track. He's won a couple of races, won our Masters class. He's going to do OVKA, the Buckeye Karting Challenge, and a couple Cup kart races this year.
Well, you know what, Scott? Isn't that what the 206 is all about? What it's doing? It's not only getting people into the sport or really helping people out that may have got out or whatever it may be. It's bringing people back to the sport as well. And that's great to hear that Kevin was gone for a while and then came back. And I love to hear that. That's the kind of success story we like hearing. So good numbers in 206. What else? Give me even your 206 junior sportsman class had 25 guys for the kids.
Oh, that was a big class. And that was one of the ones that Nash Gerke won.
Yep.
And did a very nice job in that. But also we had a one, I wish I could remember the driver's name, gained like 12 spots in our final in that class. Did a heck of a job. Cash Wyke got second. Wes Schroeder got third. He's a OVKA regular. Just some really good racing in that class, and that's one the kids, I love seeing them. They come off the track and they're goofing around and playing together and stuff like that before they go right out and get at it again.
So let's talk about the 206 class. I'll preface this with the fact that when you got a class of 20, everybody's having a good time. It's hardcore racing. 41 guys on the track. Now, you didn't run all 41. I think you said you split them up. But to have that many guys, that's when the level of competition starts raising, doesn't it? When you guys probably have to work maybe a little bit harder to make sure that they understand the mandate, because at that level, people start getting competitive. There's a lot of drivers, and people may get more aggressive if they start starting deeper in the field. Did you find that? Or was the mandate you guys came up with kind of being supported by all the drivers?
So a couple of issues there. One, due to weather in Ohio, this was the first race most of the guys got in. And we also had a few people that were brand new or fairly new. A few of them went to the back voluntarily. And one thing I should say that separates us from a lot of the other big series also, back to our roots of club racing, at this point we are still running a 2-heat format with P-pick. So it really...
Yes!
So, and we've gotten...
I love the P-pick.
We've gotten a little bit of flack on that, but...
Really? I love the P-pick.
My thing is your 2-heat races are qualifying heats. You need to be a racer. You need to prove yourself, be smart, and work your way up through. And if you use your head, you should be fine for the final. So we ran 2 heats with basically 21 karts in each heat. We took the top 11 out of each of the 2 heats. They transferred to the main. Then we ran a last chance qualifier, and took 8 out of that and started 30 in the final.
I love that. And again, that's exciting. I love the fact that you have 2 different heats. I love the P-pick. See, for me, and listen, we go to a lot of national level races, and let me preface, just give me the opportunity to stand on my pulpit here. When you don't P-pick, when you do qualify pre-final, final, there are times when somebody will not pass a car the entire weekend. So they'll move, whatever. They'll get stuck in the pack a little bit later on, and they can't come through the pack because they've never had to pass. I think the beauty of club racing, and the fact you do it on the regional level, Scott, I think is fantastic with the Buckeye Karting Challenge. P-picks teach you to drive, because you're going to start second one race. You're going to start 21st the next race. That's the beauty of it. You have to learn how to work your way forward. So kudos to you guys. That's a big check mark and a big stamp of approval from me, because I love the P-pick. Well done. That's fantastic.
Well, and I'm not going to, knock anybody, but some of the drivers that have had, especially the younger ones that have had a lot of success in big regional and national series, struggled at first with us because they weren't used to having to pass a lot of karts. And my response to those parents were, they need to learn to race. This will be good for them. But back to the 206 class, the senior class, that class was incredible. I'm going to run through some of the top finishers in there if it's okay. 4th place was Ian Quinn, his home track's Thompson. He just moved up into the senior class. He won 2 BKC championships last year in Yamaha Junior and 206 Junior. He's a past WK winner. He's sponsored by Zero Error Racing. So, but good kid, but big step up. Did a great job there. 3rd place was Sean Burkle, who is actually our series photographer. He owns and runs Adrenaline Motorsports Media. Does a great job. And interesting, he's a college student at Indiana Purdue University of Indy, taking video production and motorsports studies. So he did a great job coming in 3rd. 2nd place was AJ Roderick, another Thompson karter, who started racing karts when he was 12 at Thompson. Raced WK Gold Cups, got like 3 Gold Cup championships and some wins. Went away from karting for, I think about 14 years. Did Spec Miata racing, which he's still doing. Worked for some SCCA teams. Came back and finished 2nd at Camden. And then Eric Fagan, I know you know who he is. He's an OVKA champion. He won the CKNA Spring National Cup Karts, I believe, last week. So just heck of a racer there. Did a great job all weekend.
Scott, the beauty of having the numbers you have in that category, 41, it doesn't really matter what level you are in your racing career, whether you're able to run against some of the guys who do well at the top regionals or national events, or you're a guy that's brand new, right? Coming out, let's say you're coming out of Boss Pro Karting, you're an indoor karter, and you want to get your own kart, and you come out and play. With 41 guys in the field, or 40 plus, you're going to have someone to race with all the time. And that's one of the beauties of big fields. It doesn't matter what level you are, especially at regional level racing. It doesn't matter where you are. Come out and play. You're running with the best guys from all the clubs around you. They always say that regions do the best when they have the top guys, top 5, top 10 guys from every club battle it out of that regional series. But to have that many guys, it doesn't matter who you are, folks. Get out there and race with this program, because you're going to have someone to go wheel to wheel with.
So interesting, you mentioned guys coming from Boss Pro Karting. Lee and Boss Pro Karting have worked with us in a number of ways. Their indoor series, the winner of their summer series this year is going to get a free arrive and drive at Fremont Raceway Park this fall. And they also have a couple of their guys that have moved up and are supporting the BKC. Nice. So that's really cool.
Well, that's fantastic, Scott. I'm telling you, I really like what you're doing. I want to make sure that we stay in direct contact. You guys obviously have an event coming again, May 24, 25, 26, folks. Those of you listening to the EKN Radio Network right now and tuning into this Operation Grassroots podcast, if you got nothing going on Memorial Day weekend, Thompson Kart Raceway, round number 2 of the Buckeye Karting Challenge presented by Boss Pro Karting, Klotz Synthetics, title sponsor of the series as well. Some great people involved. Scott, let's wrap this thing up, and I want people to be able to contact you. So let's give you the opportunity here. The floor is yours. Let's give us the website. Is it Facebook, Twitter, Instagram? What are you on in social media? But let's make sure everybody knows how to learn more about the Klotz Synthetics Buckeye Karting Challenge.
So real quick, I want to give a shout out to all our racers and volunteers and my co-founders, Scott Benton and Carson Smith. And anybody that wants more information, BuckeyeKartingChallenge.com or Buckeye Karting Challenge on Facebook are the 2 easiest ways to get a hold of us. kartohio@gmail.com if they prefer to email.
Well, and of course, when we do get this up on the EKN Radio Network, then eventually turn it into podcast form, that everyone will have it. If you subscribe to our channel on iTunes, our podcast on iTunes, it'll obviously download automatically once we get that done. But the first opportunity, of course, to listen to any of our podcasts is on the streaming 24/7 EKN Radio Network. When we do post it up, of course, to the link up to Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, we'll make sure we have links to the Facebook page. Obviously, we'll tag the series in it. So pretty easy to get connected with the Buckeye Karting Challenge. Scott, I want to tell you, thank you so much for joining me here on what is a later Wednesday afternoon. You guys have a race coming up in just over, a week and a half. Congratulations on all your success. I really believe in the karting pyramid. Strong clubs is what we need to do. We kind of got away from that a little bit over the last 10 years, but I'm feeling and talking to a lot of people when we're doing these Operation Grassroots podcasts, when I'm reaching out through Facebook Messenger, whatever it may be, I'm getting a feeling that a lot of these clubs are starting to gain momentum from 206. And it's a regional series like you guys have put the time in to build. This Buckeye Karting Challenge, it's that regional series that helps fuel the fire of the club drivers to want more. They don't want to just race the club. They get excited because they get a chance to challenge themselves on another level. So kudos to you and your team putting all this hard work, you and Scott, a lot of effort to put this in, but what it's paying back to Ohio karting, man, I'm sure people are just thrilled to be able to have this program.
The people are loving it. We love doing it, and we appreciate you giving us this platform to promote it a little bit.
Well, I'll tell you this right now. My schedule's booked, me and David Cole, for 2019. He and I are racing at the Battle of the Brickyard. We're going to run the Cup Karts North America finale, the Grand Nationals, in October. But once you guys get around the corner to 2020, I'm going to cut a couple of dates. I'm going to look. I'd like to come down to race with you guys. That seems like a lot of fun. Do some 206 Masters racing. So once that schedule gets done for next year, make sure I get a hold of it so I can see if I can't plug a race in, because you're not that far away from me. Again, I'm only 3.5 hours from Detroit, so right around the corner. We're talking maybe 7 hours to some of these races, and that's my limit. That's my one-day driver. I can do that at any time. So, Scott, thanks again for joining me. I really appreciate it. Really happy that we were able to, shine the spotlight here on what is a fantastic program in Ohio.
Thanks again. Scott
Smith, the co-founder and director of the Buckeye Karting Challenge. Tremendous program, folks. Again, April 26th, 27th, 28th was their first round. They ran at Camden. 2 weeks from now, May the 26th, Thompson Kart Raceway. June the 28th, 29th, 30th at Wilmington Raceway. August 16th, 17th, 18th at the iconic Circleville facility. And they'll wrap it all up September 7th, 8th, and 9th, Fremont Raceway Park. Once again, Buckeye Karting Challenge. Look them up on Facebook. Look them up on the web as well. And again, we thank Scott Smith for joining us here on episode number 9 of Operation Grassroots, presented by Briggs Stratton. This is the EKN Radio Network. My name is Rob Howden. Bye for now.